Hi, it's Jane. Somehow I feel like you guys are crooked, but I'm not going to play with the camera today. So I'm just going to leave it the way it is. If you're crooked, you're crooked. All right. Thought I would show you a few things that I've been working on, and of course, been doing some scrubbies. So I've got about 10 of these made. Need to weave in the ends. These are for the craft fair. I generally just make these just like this because they're great for cleaning, washing pots and pans, that kind of thing. So I have a lot of people that like those like that. They don't really want the round ones. They don't want all this other. So that's what I do for them. All right, and as you know, I did finish the shawl that I was working on, and this is that one of my patterns that I came up with, which is called the Spring Garden Shawl. And this was using trying to think of the name of it. Using the Premier Sweet Rolls in Blueberry Hill, I believe, is what the name is. And I am starting that tutorial this week. I was hoping to get to it this weekend, but I didn't get to it. So, there's that. Didn't really get any further on my scarf. This is that Tarnation scarf with the, that's the back, with the moss stitch. So I didn't get any further on that one, which is kind of normal for me these days. I didn't get very far on my knitting. Probably need to take a little more time and sit and knit with you guys. So, did get a little bit further, but not much. So, do need to move that up this week. So, I'll move that up. And then working on Jeanette's blanket, as her and her family likes to call it. And that is the Romance Ripple. And I did get quite a bit of that done. So let me move that stitch marker up. And I know a lot of people will just add more stitch markers from some of the folks that I see so that you can see the different progress. I don't worry about that. But the blanket's coming along nicely. I probably have another maybe 2-3 more sections to go before it'll be the length that I need it for. And that is basically all that I've done. Now, for many of us, Operation Christmas Child is going to start. For some places, it starts next week, although I think the annual drive starts October the 27th for a lot of churches. So I did go to a workshop this past weekend for that, and loved every minute of it, getting to see some of the different churches that have been doing this for a long time, the way that they manage them and how they set goals each year for how many boxes that they're going to get out, that kind of thing. So I always find that very fascinating to actually see, to see them do that. One of the women, this is a church that has consistently done quite a few boxes each year. She said this year they think they're going to make over 520, but they're not positive. But their goal for the past couple of years has been try to reach 500 boxes. And this is a year-round project for many of these folks in this. Some of the ways that they do it is each month they may collect a different item that will go into those boxes to be stored somewhere. And, it's just a great way to build that camaraderie with it. And then they have packing parties where they bring everything into a main central area where they have collected throughout the year for those things, and they start boxing up these boxes. They do, and she showed how they don't they don't sew pencil bounce pouches. They don't have someone who makes them consistently, or they don't purchase them. But what they do is they use a freezer baggie and they do a lining. Lots of times they buy the freezer bags that have the lining in them, for the Christmas season or different seasons. Sometimes they have the Easter ones, sometimes they have the other, that kind of thing. And they will use that as their pencil bag and those kind of things. They also purchase bulk Band-Aids, those kind of things. So it's just neat to get to hear how they work those systems out in their own churches. And the church that I go to, we're really just starting getting into those things. We are the drop-off center for our county. And so, we've done a couple of packing parties before, those kind of things, to add toys to the things and different things in the boxes, that kind of stuff. But this is the first year where we're kind of working to coordinate things, to start doing some things and plan. Well, the battery died. Anyway, for those future years in our planning and those kind of things. So from here, for the next month or so, I'll be sharing some different things about Operation Christmas Child. I do hope that you will participate in it. They do ask for a $10 donation per box, and that's to help with the shipping cost. Because quite honestly, if you were to ship the box alone, it would actually cost you about $50 to ship just one of those boxes. But because they use freights, cargo, freights, those kind of things, they can ship them a little more economically. They do also have something online that is called Build a Shoebox Online. And basically, when you go to that site, and it's at Samaritan's Purse, Operation Christmas Child. When you go to that site, you have this box and you drag the items that you want down there. And roughly the amount for the items in the box is $15 plus $10 to ship it. And those boxes are sent in plastic boxes, like what you see at Hobby Lobby, if you go to Hobby Lobby to pick up those boxes. So, the good thing about that is this. You don't have to worry about making sure it's okay with the customs in that country, whatever. These are things that will most likely be able to go into any country of origin. And the bonus with that is it also allows them to, like when they get to the port of entry, the inspector may ask, such questions like, what is this made of? Where was it manufactured? And all those kind of things. They actually have that information already. They can give that to that inspector so they know that it'll be fine and it'll get through, because otherwise the inspector could make them open each and every box if they wanted to, or a box here or a box there out of that freight, and then deny it because of one item, because they can't tell them where it was manufactured, what it's made of, those kind of things. So there's a bonus to building a box online. Plus, most of us would probably spend more than $15 in a store to build a box. So there is that as well. And they have some great items that you can put into those boxes. So that is another option to consider. And I know I've had a lot of people tell me, well, the $10, that's kind of cost prohibitive. Really? How many times do you go through Dunkin' Donuts or McDonald's drive-thru for a morning coffee or late afternoon latte or frap? You can't afford it? Can you go without for a month or two to afford a box or two even? Those are some things to consider. All right, one of the easiest things that you can make if you like to make homemade things, is a comfort doll. And there are a lot of patterns online for knit and crochet. This is a knit one. This I keep by my project area so that I have an idea of how big to make them, because this is a nice size. You can make them a little bigger. I think some of the bigger ones are about maybe 8 to 9 inches and maybe 3 inches wide. And those are fine too for the boxes because they fit perfectly. Things to always consider putting in note paper. One of the gals was showing what they do with a lot of their leftover construction paper. They will cut them into half sheets and then paper clip several of the pieces together on each end, so the kids have that to write on, draw on, cut, whatever they want to do with, that kind of thing. And also finding online, lots of times, Oriental Trading has coloring books, that are just flip-through books that'll fit in. The biggest thing that I've noticed is most coloring books that you purchase, even if you get them at the Dollar Tree, Dollar General, those kind of things, they are too big to fit into the box, and they don't really mold well in the box. So, but you can always do that if you want. I often have just printed off sheets on computer paper, put those in there for the kids to color. Coloring box, a box of crayons, 24 crayons is great. Colored pencils, colored pens, pencils, sharpener for the pencil. The big thing is a lot of what we don't realize is in a lot of countries there's no light after it gets dark. So a flashlight is a great item to include. And one of the things about flashlights you have to have batteries. So consider adding extra batteries into that box, or even get one of those shake or the hand crank flashlights. Those are some great options as well. So those are some things to consider putting in your box, and I'm looking forward to this year getting it going. And we're tossing some ideas around at our church about how to get the entire congregation involved with that. All right, that's my spiel for the Operation Christmas Child. You will be seeing more of it. You will also be seeing more ideas come along as we go throughout this next month or so, because this is the month people start packing those boxes and getting them to their central area to be delivered. All right, you ready for a little what in Tarnation? Farm creates massive Beetlejuice pumpkin mosaic. The British farm that holds the Guinness World Record for largest pumpkin mosaic unveiled this year's gourd art, a tribute to the new film Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. Former Ian Nelson of Sunnyfields Farm near Taunton, Hampshire, said the farm's fans voted on the theme for this year's pumpkin mosaic, and 70% of the votes went to the character played by Michael Keaton in Tim Burton's 1988 film and this year's sequel. The farm posted a video to Facebook showing a time lapse of how the mosaic was created. There are over 10,000 pumpkins and squashes in the mosaic. It took about 50 hours of planning on paper, and then we built it in one day with 15 people, starting at 9:30 a.m. and finishing at 4:30 p.m., Nelson told the Portsmouth News. All of the pumpkins in the mosaic are naturally colored. A lot of them are edible, and they're the same pumpkins we've got around the fields the visitors can pick up, put in their wheelbarrow, and buy to take home, he said. It is not yet clear whether this year's mosaic will take the Guinness World Record from Sunnyfield's 2023 mosaic, which depicted Jack Skellington from The Nightmare Before Christmas. The mosaic covered an area of 2,081 square feet. And there's a link down below. Now, I will tell you with the down below, you'll have to hit the see more or whatever it is. It's a little different on your phone, but you can go to the links down there and you'll be able to go and see these videos, pictures, those kind of things. Alligator lunges out of Milton floodwaters, bites vehicle's tire. Workers with the Florida Waste Management Company captured video of the moment an alligator lunged out of the Hurricane Milton floodwaters and attacked the tire of their vehicle. Dave and Amanda of North Fort Myers Sanitation were driving through floodwaters in the Riverbend neighborhood of the North Fort Myers when they had the unusual encounter with the hungry reptile. They were taking video of the floodwaters when they ended up capturing the moment an alligator lunged out of the deep water covering the road and attempted to clamp its jaws around the front vehicle's front tire. The duo drove away from the scene and the tire did not appear to be badly damaged by the gator's sharp teeth. We have a winner of the Fat Bear Week, and for the second year in a row, Grazer took it. Alaska's Katmai National Park and Preserve announced a bear known as Grazer has been named the winner of Fat Bear Week for the second consecutive year. The park on social media said that the park said on social media that Grazer, officially designated as Bear 128, won her second consecutive competition, beating out other favorites including longtime rival Chunk, number 2032. This pudgy sow wins a successful winter in the den for all her hard work, raising a cub and feasting on salmon all year long. The annual contest, voted on by members of the public, is a celebration of the success and survival. It is a way to celebrate the resilience, adaptability, and strength of Katmai's brown bears. The park said all of the Bruins in this year's bracket did an admirable job of packing on the pounds. Don't you wish that was okay for us? We could pack on the pounds? Congrats to all the fat bears in Katmai, and thanks again to the salmon. Without healthy salmon, there would be no healthy fat bears. Crash covers California highway in sweet potatoes. A crash on a California highway caused an hours-long traffic jam when one of the vehicles lost its load of sweet potatoes into the road. I always thought yams and sweet potatoes were two different things, but apparently someone doesn't know or they're just playing with words. California Highway Patrol's Merced posted on social media that traffic on southbound Highway 99 in Livingston was brought to a standstill when a crash involving a truck caused the vehicle to drop hundreds of pounds of sweet potatoes on the roadway. Travelers were advised to find alternate routes while officials worked to clear the tubers from the highway. The cleanup lasted about several hours. Mystery lemur found wandering loose in Houston Park. Animal rescuers in Texas were surprised when a call about a lemur on a loose in a park turned out to be an actual lemur and not a raccoon. Toby's Wildlife Management and Pest Control said on social media that personnel responded to a call about a lemur on the loose in Houston's Bear Creek Park. We were extremely skeptical and thought it might be a raccoon that was acting oddly, which could indicate rabies. Caller told rescuers someone had picked up the lemur and left the area, but returned an hour later and dropped the animal back off in the park. Got a hair. Rescuers headed toward the park, but got pulled over for speeding on the way. We poked our head out in the window, apologized for speeding, and explained who we were and where we were going. The police officer sighed a sigh of relief and stated, "Oh, good. I'm headed that way now and I need your help. Follow me." Needless to say, they were safely escorted to the park by their new police officer friend. The crew arrived at the park and confirmed the animal was a ring-tailed lemur. The primate, native to Madagascar, is believed to have been someone's pet, as it was friendly and quickly climbed into the rescue team's car. He is friendly and extremely smart. This is the wildest story in over our 23 years of experience. Lemurs are considered exotic pets in Texas and require a permit to be legally kept. The lemur, dubbed Lenny by rescuers, will be checked for a microchip. He does not have a permit holding lemur. The rescue group said it will find him a new home at a sanctuary or a zoo. Now this next story is a what in the world was she thinking? And oh my story. Dozens of hungry raccoons take over Washington woman's property. A Washington woman who has been feeding the raccoons near her home for 35 years ended up calling the authorities when she found her home surrounded by nearly 100 of the animals. The Polsby woman told Kitsap County Sheriff's Office deputies she has been giving food to raccoons near her home for about 35 years, and about 6 weeks ago, dozens of animals suddenly showed up on her property. Apparently, they've got Instagram or social media now. The woman says the raccoons often surround her day and night demanding food. Sheriff's spokesman said in a video posted to social media. And she says she's been quoted prices as high as $500 per raccoon to trap and relocate them. Deputies referred the woman to the Washington State Department of Fish and Wildlife, which put her in touch with local wildlife control operators to remove the raccoons. Feeding raccoons may create undesirable situations for you, your children, neighbors, pets, and the raccoons themselves. Raccoons that are fed by people often lose their fear of humans and may become aggressive when not fed as expected. And apparently, that is true. Pennsylvania has a very interesting animal that you should consider yourself lucky if you see this ghostly animal in Pennsylvania. The Albino Ground Hog just got a big shout out in Pennsylvania. The rare and unique mammal was highlighted by the Pennsylvania Game Commission this Halloween season due to its ghostly nature. Ghostly because according to PGC, out of 66 wild animals in the state, the albino ground hog is described as so rare that many residents will never get the chance to see one in their lifetime. So what's the deal with this animal? Well, according to PGC's Facebook post, it comes down to a difference between leucistic and albino animals. Albinos have a complete lack of pigmentation caused by a genetic mutation that prevents the production of melanin, a natural substance that gives color to the skin and makes them appear white or have pink or red eyes. But if the animal is leucistic, that means it has partial loss of pigmentation and results in white coloration or white patches or spots. Leucistic animals do not lose color in their eyes, making eye color a good way to determine if the animal is albino or leucistic. Albinism and leucism occur in many wildlife species, though the animals are relatively rare. Albinos and leucistic animals most likely experience higher predation rates, as they have a harder time blending in with their habitat, in addition to their short lifespans. But with all that said, it doesn't at all take away from how expansive the animal kingdom is. The groundhog reminds us of the incredible diversity in the animal world. That is it for What in Tarnation. All right, let's move on to the devotion. Well, if I can find the book. Hang on, folks. All right, got it. Sorry about that. It was being hidden by some stuff. This comes from God's promises from the heart. Promises from God's heart when you need strength. He gives strength to the weary and strengthens the powerless. Isaiah 40:29. The Lord is the strength of his people. He is a stronghold of salvation for his anointed. Psalm 28:8. See, the Lord comes with strength, and his power establishes his rule. He protects his flock like a shepherd. He gathers the lambs in his arms and carries them in the fold of his garment. Isaiah 40:10-11. He makes both us and you remain strong in the faith. Because we belong to Christ, he anointed us. 2 Corinthians 1:21. Those who trust in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not faint. Isaiah 40:31. I pray that the eyes of your heart will have enough light to see what is the hope of God's call, what is the richness of God's glorious inheritance among believers, and what is the overwhelming greatness of God's power that is working among us believers. This power is conferred by the energy of God's powerful strength. Ephesians 1:18-19. But all those who come and listen and obey me are like a man who builds a house on a strong foundation, laid upon the underlying rock. When the floodwaters rise and break against the house, it stands firm, for it is strongly built. Luke 6:47-48. That is it for today's video. Quite a bit, wasn't it? All right, I will see you again soon. And in the meantime, everybody remember, don't let those donkeys and those elephants drive a wedge between us. Of course, there'll be another election in 4 years. Let's face it, folks. We're all just human beings. We choose based on what our values and our morals are. Let's be okay with that. Let's be okay with whoever wins this election. All right, I'll see you again soon. Bye.